If you've ever worked with data, you know the grind of doing calculations by hand. Well, today, we're going to completely change that. We're going to master the set of Excel functions that puts all that work on autopilot. This is your guide to conditional summaries, a skill that is seriously going to save you hours and transform your workflow.
You know the feeling, right? You're staring at this absolute sea of data, thousands of rows deep. You need answers, but you're stuck doing it manually. Filtering, sorting, summing. It's not just slow and tedious. A single slip-up can throw off your entire analysis. It's a huge pain.
The secret is to make Excel do all that heavy lifting for you, automatically. And that is exactly what we're going to dig into today. We're about to unlock a family of functions that will fundamentally change how you deal with your data for good. Look, in any kind of serious data analysis, you almost never need to just sum up an entire column. The real work, the valuable work, is answering specific questions. Like, what were our sales in this region? Or, how many projects are over budget right now? And that's where a simple sum function just can't keep up. The best way to think about these functions is like a bridge. Over on one side, you've got your huge, messy table of raw data. And on the other side, you have the clean, structured summaries you need for your reports and financial models. These functions, they are that bridge, connecting the two sides instantly with zero manual work.
So, our journey starts with the foundational function, SUMIF. It's honestly the perfect place to begin because its logic is super simple and clear, and it really forms the basis for everything else we're going to cover.
The job of SUMIF is simple but incredibly powerful. It looks through a bunch of cells for one specific thing you tell it to find, and then it sums up the corresponding values in another column. One condition, one sum. That's all there is to it. Okay, let's break down how you actually write it. First, you've got the range. This is where you tell Excel, hey, look over here. Next is the criteria. That's the what you're looking for. And finally, you point to the sum range. These are the actual cells it needs to add up when it finds a match. Simple as that.
So let's make this real. Imagine column A is full of sales regions and column C has the revenue. This formula is basically saying, scan down column A. Every single time you see the word EMEA, I want you to jump over to column C in that same row and add that revenue number to my total. Boom. Simple, clean, and you get your answer instantly.
All right, so sometimes you don't need to sum up values. You just need to count how many there are. For that, we turn to SUMIF's close cousin, COUNTIF. This function is all about answering how many, not how much.
The key is right there in the name, COUNTIF. It literally counts the number of cells in a range if they meet your specific rule. It's perfect for getting a quick head count of items, statuses, or different categories.
For instance, let's say you have a huge list of invoice statuses in column D. This formula right here, it instantly tells you exactly how many of those invoices are marked overdue. No more filtering, no more manual counting. Just a perfect, immediate answer.
And this thing is so versatile, that's what makes it amazing. You can use it for simple stuff like getting a head count for each department, or for more complex analysis like counting how many sales deals were over $1 million. You can even use it for data integrity, running checks to make sure your model is totally error-free. It is a fantastic tool for any dashboard.
Okay, so SUMIF is great for one condition. But let's be real, the business world is way more complex than that. You need to ask questions with multiple filters. And for that, we need the absolute powerhouse of this group, SUMIFS. That little S on the end, that's your clue that this function can handle a whole bunch of conditions at once.
Now listen up, because this is the single most common mistake people make. With SUMIFS, the argument order completely flips. The sum range, the numbers you actually want to add up, that comes first. Then you start listing your pairs of criteria ranges and criteria. Getting this right from the very beginning is going to save you so many headaches down the road.
And here's what that looks like in action. This formula sums up the revenue in column C, but only if two different things are true. The region in column A has to be EMEA, and the quarter in column D has to be Q 2026. See, this is how you start to build really sophisticated, multi-layered summaries.
Now SUMIFS has its own partner function, COUNTIFS, and it's perfect for categorizing or bucketing your data. You can use it to create summaries just like this accounts receivable aging report, counting exactly how many invoices fall into each time bracket. It turns a long, boring list of numbers into a clear, visual story.
Okay, so we've seen all the individual tools. Now let's put them all together. Let's see how they work in concert to build something really useful, like a dynamic financial summary report.
Let's walk through building a quick budget report. First, you just set up a simple grid. Departments down the side, months across the top. Then, you use SUMIFS to pull the total spending for each specific little bucket. Next, you use COUNTIFS to see the number of transactions that happened in that same bucket. And finally, you can use AVERAGEIFS, which works just like SUMIFS, to figure out the average transaction size. In just a few steps, these functions work together to create a fully automated and super insightful report.
Before we wrap up, I want to run through a few pro tips. These are the things that will help you write formulas that aren't just correct, but are also clean, reliable, and easy for other people to understand.
First off, use named ranges. A formula that says sales_data is a million times easier to read than A2 to C500. Second, please don't hard-code your criteria in the formula. Pull them from other cells so your reports are dynamic. Third, always lock your ranges with those dollar signs. It's crucial for preventing errors when you copy formulas around. And lastly, always be on the lookout for numbers that are secretly formatted as text. It's a classic error that can drive you crazy.
And let's quickly cover the big mistakes you want to avoid. First, like we talked about, never mix up that SUMIF and SUMIFS argument order. Second, remember that text criteria are not case-sensitive, so EMEA and EMEA are seen as the exact same thing. And finally, just be aware of any blank cells in your data because they can sometimes lead to some pretty unexpected results in your counts and sums.
So, with SUMIF, COUNTIF, and SUMIFS in your back pocket, you can finally stop being a data janitor and start being a true data analyst. You now have the power to turn those huge seas of raw numbers into the structured, actionable insights that actually drive decisions.
You've just mastered how to summarize everything that's already happened, so the next logical step is to work with dates and time to forecast what will happen. You can now analyze the past, so the real question is, are you ready to build the future?